The 1980s were a very exciting time for music. MTV exploded onto cable television and introduced the world to artists as varied as Madonna to Motley Crue. And while many of these artists have become mainstays of classic rock radio and the oldie stations, there are many who were awesome that have sort of been lost to the sands of time. Some of these artists are still putting out great music even today. So on this week's Loudini Rock and Roll Circus podcast, we will expand your musical taste to tell you about 10 artists from the 80s that you may not remember, but should. Get ready to rock out with your talk out. It's the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Moms and dads, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. I am your host, your ringmaster, Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. So how's everybody doing this evening out there in internet land? Hope you guys are having a good time. We are, of course, we're getting warmed up, lubed up, and prepped to tell you all about great rock and roll. This is what we do here at the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. We get together every week and discuss interesting music-related topics, maybe tell you about some bands and artists maybe you don't know about, forgot about, never heard of, etc. And hope that you have a lot of fun along the way. I know we have a good time. A few things we want to get out of the way before we get started. First of all, we want to talk about some sponsors and some friends, people that help us out along the way. I want to give a shout out to Chris Underwolf Dodson at wolfscustoms.online. Go to wolfscustoms.online and get a professionally done repaint of your musical instrument. They don't just like do one colors. I mean, they can, but they really can do interesting work to make your musical instrument kind of really stand out, look very, very cool. It's important, you know, you're getting up there on stage this year, doing your shows. You want to stand out. You want to do something a little bit different. Chris Thunderwolf Dodson at Wolf's Customs can do really amazing things with your guitar, bass, whatever instrument you play. He does work on drums, all sorts of things. It doesn't really matter. You want to get a hold of those guys. You can find them on Facebook, Wolf's Customs. Check them out. rockrageradio.com. You want to check that out because you get great music programming 24/7, including the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, Hot Licks with Lily Six. We have Lily Six with us. Lily is a jock on there on Rock Rage Radio, rockrageradio.com. Download the app. It's 100% free, and you can listen to great music content 24/7. Also, check out our websites, loudinirockandrollcircus.com and loulombardimusic.com. They'll give you access to all kind of exclusive things like our private Facebook group, exclusive downloads of music, our YouTube archive, tons of cool stuff there at loudinirockandrollcircus.com and loulombardimusic.com. All right, everybody. So it's been a interesting week in music, right? We have they're dropping like flies. And before we get to, in all seriousness, I do want to say, a little bit of a remembrance of Matt Reiser, who was a really cool dude, and not old dude at all, and unfortunately passed away this past week. He was a huge music fan here in the Pittsburgh music scene. Saw him at shows all the time, and on Facebook there's been a lot of really touching tributes. A lot of people, remembering him coming out to their shows and just being super supportive. Great photographer. I met Matt many, many years ago when he was working for South Hills Chrysler, and he would bring parts down and we would chew the fat about music and guitars, and just a cool guy all the way around. And it's just a very sad loss for the music scene here in Pittsburgh. So Matt, here's to Matt Reiser. Cheers.
Cheers.
You will be remembered, my friend. As I mentioned earlier, we do have hot licks. We do have hot
We
licks.
have hot licks here. Nice.
I watched a retrospective on MASH this week. No, I did not. I don't watch it. I'm just lying. I just lie through my teeth. I just tell lies all day long. Anyways, so we do have Lily V6.
What's up? Always. Do I need loudness?
There we go. Now you're more louder. It's one louder.
It's one louder, isn't it?
One louder.
One more.
Right.
One louder. She's just like one louder. So what's up, Lily? What do you got going on this week? You go to shows? You do anything?
This past weekend I saw Flashback at Gurgles, which is a cover band. They play all sorts of things: Prince, AC/DC, Beastie Boys, all kinds of stuff that we all know and love. There's a lot of dancing going on, but it was
Very
a lot
cool.
of fun. This week, Bruce Dickinson on Saturday.
Nice.
What's he doing?
He's doing.
Oh, is he the spoken word?
Yeah, the spoken word thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is Saturday.
That is quite interesting.
I know. I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to see all the people.
Excited!
I can't wait to see all the people disappointed that he's not singing.
Right.
Because that's what they think he's going to be doing.
Also, one of my absolute heroes. I've been working on my singing for about 10 years now with a great vocal coach, Beth Clausen. And, one of the people that I come back to all the time, we've sung tons of Meatloaf songs in voice lessons. And I just was shocked to hear about his passing this past week.
Yeah.
Just like, we've done, I believe we have done podcasts on Bat Out of Hell.
We did.
That is just an absolutely brilliant classic album. Go back and check that out. We will repost that on social media for those of you out there that aren't haven't seen it or can't find it. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify and all the places under Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. But I don't really know what else you could say. What is your favorite Meatloaf?
Paradise by the Dashboard.
That's your favorite one. Kevin, you got up. Oh, I forgot to mention we have Mr. Pittsburgh
Hey,
Kevin
everybody.
here. What's up, Pittsburgh?
Hi, how are you? Hey, can I say one thing real quick, and then I'll talk about my favorite song.
Sure.
So do you remember, like around New Year's, you asked me what my resolution was?
Oh yeah, yes.
And what was it?
You were going to buy a Telecaster this year.
And guess what I did?
Kevin is holding a beautiful butterscotch Telecaster right here. So
There you go.
it even tastes like butterscotch. I was licking it earlier.
That would
and
explain the streaks on the front of it, Lou.
It has a great flavor.
God. All right.
It really does.
All right.
So there's many Meatloaf songs that I like, but I like 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad. I thought that was a very cool song. Very heartfelt.
I was very happy to meet him in August at
yes.
Steel City Con, so I'm glad I got to do that.
Yes.
Very cool guy. He actually got our podcast information. Hopefully he listened once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe he's listening in the great beyond or whatever.
Well, he definitely is.
He was, I loved some of my favorite Meatloaf moments.
Yes.
Wayne's World, where he plays the bouncer.
Oh,
at the bar.
yeah, right?
Of course.
We have the shitty Beatles. Or is it just a clever... No, they suck. Is that a clever name, or what does he say? Are they good, or is that just whatever he says? No, they suck. That was great. He's and I loved, of course, Fight Club. He's great. Robert, his name, I posted that, and I wanted to see how many people got that. And I did put hashtag Bat Out of Hell, hashtag Meatloaf.
Right.
But I don't think many people picked up on it. But there's the famous scene line, whatever, in the movie. His name is Robert Paulson. And he plays a guy who had testicular cancer and was juicing with steroids and stuff and ended up getting giant man boobs. And there's a scene in the movie where they're running out of a building and Meatloaf's pants fall off. And it was not planned. It was an accident. And David Fincher just kept it in the movie.
Yeah, it's in
one
there.
Of those, it's one of those fun
Right?
things to like kind of look for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not out. It's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
It's not like-
you have to kind of look for
you
it,
have to
but it's
kinda look for it,
there.
But it's absolutely. It's like the stormtrooper who hits his head
Hit on the
and
door. Yeah.
You know, and when they went back and did the special editions,
Lucas
added a
noise. Yeah. Dunk. I'm like, that's great.
But it's nice, but just the, like a super super cool guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back rewatch his Behind the Music again, but my favorite Meatloaf song, it is tough. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Bat Out of Hell.
There's too many lists.
There's too many. But probably the song that I think is just really insane is the title track, Bat Out of Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's one of those very, I mean, it's like progressive and heavy and operatic. It's got like everything. To be really fun to hear somebody like Bruce Dickinson sing that or do something fun with that.
Well, now you have to do your tribute band you've always talked about.
Yeah, maybe I'll do Meatloaf tribute band.
Have you? Did you hear?
Hal in Philly, what's up?
Hi, Hal. Did you? I'm sure you know the Celine Dion. My brain just went.
It happens.
Yeah. It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah,
You've heard that.
That's Jim
Did
Steinman.
Did you hear Meatloaf
I've
do
heard
it?
him, yes.
Yeah, it's very good. Very good.
Let me just pull this up because
Let me whip this out.
I feel like any of the Steinman artists can be mixed and matched to sing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I like
yeah.
me like the point.
what's the song that Air Supply?
I don't know. I mean, I know the song, but I can't think of
You
it.
know, like I would love to hear Meatloaf sing that.
Well,
Oh, that would be great. You know?
yeah. But I wonder if somewhere out there is a take of him doing it. Oh.
Google.
I'd lie for you, and that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Rock and roll dreams.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did not sing. So this was interesting. There was supposed to be a follow-up to Bat Out of Hell, and Meatloaf never showed up for any of the sessions.
Oh, jeez.
So it's a Jim Steinman album.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a there was a hit song on, and Jim Steinman just did the vocals. He just sang the songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he does by no means has the kind of voice that Meatloaf has.
Right.
But he sings. He did the hit off that album was from 1991. There was the hit off of that album was called Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through, and it's got the giant production, the whole
Right,
thing.
the Jim Steinman
Yes,
sound.
the absolute Jim Steinman song. And eventually, though, on Bat Out of Hell 2 or Revisit or whatever they Bat Out of Hells or what they did.
Hells.
Yeah, I think it was 1993. Meatloaf did finally sing it. My opinion, it's cool and he's great, but Jim Steinman captured something vocally on that song. Just that his sort of like kind of he has a kind of a lilting kind of voice. It's not powerful like Meatloaf's.
Right.
So it's a kind of vulnerable.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that it kind of works for that song. But anyway, you took the words right out of my mouth. Oh my God!
Oh, I see what you did there.
Such a great song.
Yeah.
So, on a hot summer night.
What is that?
Would
It's
you
like
offer your throat to the wolf with the red roses?
Yes.
Of course he would.
Of course, Bat Out of Hell, which we mentioned. There's and by the way, before there was MTV or anything like that, there were music videos to these songs.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there is several to the songs Bat Out of Hell. Of course, who could forget the 11-minute I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Yeah, right.
And he does say what he won't. People say, he never says what he won't do. Yes, he says
You have to
it.
listen to the song.
Yes, he says it. Listen to the song. You got to get,
Come
got to
on
get
now.
6-7 minutes into it before you find out what he won't do. And as Lily mentioned, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, which is this super fun song. I worked it up in a band, and that we were too afraid to play it live.
Aw.
We were just, oh man, we're just gonna screw this up. It's like, it has high dick up potential. That's what we were saying. It has high dick up potential.
Yeah, but drunk people don't know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but and you feel like a schmuck.
Yeah.
Especially when you're covering like a really great song by a great artist like Meatloaf, and you screw it up. You feel like, you feel like you kind of like, you feel like you want to call Meatloaf up and say, hey, man, I'm so sorry. I screwed up your song,
Then Meatloaf will come and make you give the money back to all the people. Right?
Yes, that
Yes.
is a thing.
Meatloaf.
I've seen him do
Meat.
that.
The big meat. But so we have a good show for you. We're gonna get into our main topic in a minute here. I also want to discuss. We'll get into this a little bit later on. There's a really interesting article from The Atlantic by Ted Goya. Is old music killing new music?
Oh, interesting.
And he's got all kind of charts and graphs about what's hot on the this being streamed,
Right.
And you old dudes, you Generation Xers, you boomers,
Yeah.
your music right now is hotter than the new music. Very interesting. So we're gonna talk about that in a little while as well. I think there's some interesting ideas and stuff, just some food for thought. And do you guys know about the artists selling off their catalogs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multi-millions.
Yeah.
They're getting. And you notice, like, when you go see like current movies, they have classic songs, like classic rock songs, and I watched a really cheesy movie. It was recommended by a friend, and Gary usually has very good taste in movies, but I didn't get this movie. It's a movie with what's his name? Big
Sam
mustache.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Yep.
I always forget his name too.
I want to call him Sam Shepard. That's another person.
That's another person.
actor.
Yeah.
But Sam Shepard's also a playwright. But in any case, with Sam Elliott called. Now check. This is a great title.
Okay.
The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot.
Wow, that covers it all.
And it's a movie I just was like, but Gary's like, no, it's really good. You got to check it out. And then Sam Elliott's in it. So like,
Okay.
Sam Elliott. I don't think it's that good of a movie. I think it's kind of like, eh.
Huh.
But the movie opens with "Lonely Is the Night" by Billy Squier. Like
Oh.
the
Oh,
Billy
wow.
Squier. They
Yeah.
play almost the entire song.
Really?
And then later on in the movie, "Use Me" by Bill Withers. They play almost the entire song.
Wow.
And then like in the Marvel movies, Black Sabbath, AC/DC, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy movies where
all
they
those,
play all
yeah,
those yacht rock things. That people love that music. They don't think it's cheesy. It's interesting because when I was younger and I would listen to my parents' music, I was like, it's okay. Like, I get it. It's
Right,
all right.
yeah.
But I wouldn't like seek it out.
Right.
Whereas that's not really what's going on. Like, people are seeking out this older music. They want to hear it. They're really into it. So it's interesting. Some weird stuff's going on. Like Korn's got, they've got a new album coming out, and one of their songs is like. Let me ask you this, Lily, because you're all about metal. Is Korn metal?
I want to say no.
I'm going to say no too, but they're on the Spotify metal charts.
Yeah, I know.
And
people do consider them
but how can they? I mean, they're not a new band.
no. Oh, gosh,
That's a
no.
band
Yeah.
from the
I was in high
90s.
school.
actually.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting. What people are kind of drawn to right now. It's a little crazy. So anyway, let's go ahead. The 1980s were a super fun time, and what people don't, and we're going to do a podcast called eventually. And I want you to think about this. We're going to do a podcast called 10 Bands That Rocked the 80s That Weren't Hair Metal.
Oh, interesting.
And there's a lot, if you think about it, there's a lot of good, really like in-your-face rock and roll bands that got all, especially on MTV, that didn't do the hair thing. They maybe had short hair, or they were like, they had like a kind of different vibe or something like that. So, the 80s and the 70s and 80s were really interesting. They're way more eclectic than I think we really realize.
Yeah.
But anyway, today we're going to be talking about. Let's go ahead and get into this. Bands that were from the 80s that maybe you don't know about. So we're hoping maybe in this podcast we're going to get to introduce you to some artists that you have, or maybe remind you at least of some really cool bands. You want, crap! I forgot about those guys. They were really good. What the hell? So we're going to limit ourselves to 10. When we get to 10, we're done. Okay, because this is going to be a
Cut
part.
off.
This is going to be a part 1. I'm hoping to do more of this. I want to also do like the same thing with the 70s, the 90s,
Oh, yeah.
2000 through 2010.
Yeah.
You know, let's go, because I love introducing people. Like, to me, what I look at stuff like these types of shows as like, remember when you go to your friend's house and be like, dude, have you heard this band? And you went, no. And he plays them for you, and you go like, shit, they're awesome.
Yep.
And that is what that's the kind of effect I want to be able to have on folks with these types of shows. So a Facebook user who I do not know says, go to Europe to find great new music. The Frontiers record label has great music, not just in the USA, though.
Jeff Mazzi.
Oh, okay.
Is who that
All right,
is.
Jeff. All right, cool.
I can see who everyone is.
Okay, for some reason, that's not coming. The names aren't coming across on
Your newfangled
on
toy.
my thing, but I can't see the comments. It's an improvement. So, all right, guys. So we're gonna start as always with Lily. Now, you guys know what the 80s were, right?
What?
1980s, 1980 through 1989. So we're not if the band was more hot in the 90s, like maybe they started in these, but then they're a 90s band. Okay, so we want to stick with bands that are like primarily 80s band. Like, I know REM was a more kind of an underground band in the 80s, but they really kind of exploded in the 90s.
Right.
Okay, so we're not, so that's just a kind of example of that. So we're laying a couple ground rules here so it doesn't turn into a fucking free-for-all. So, Lily, what you got?
First on my list is Glass Tiger.
Oh.
Grammy Award nominated Canadian rock band from
Grammy Award nominated.
Yes.
Okay, listen, that's very important because,
Yes.
like, you don't remember.
Right.
Glass
Until
Tiger.
you hear the songs.
That,
and then
yeah.
then you're like,
But
oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying is, like, they were actually nominated for Grammy. Go ahead.
Formed in 1983. The band has released 5 studio albums. In 1986, the debut album, The Thin Red Line, was quadruple platinum in Canada and gold in the U.S.
Quadruple platinum.
2 singles from the album are Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone and Someday. And they reached the U.S. top 10. The band went on hiatus in 1993. And then they all had their own little projects, and they reformed in 2003 with new drummer Christopher McNeil and began touring again. Fast forward to 2009, they decided to tour Afghanistan. The visit included live performances and footage, and it was shown on an episode of Entertainment Tonight Canada. Then they returned back to Afghanistan for a second performance. In 2012, they toured with Roxette in Canada, which super excited.
They're more like a 90s band, though. But yeah, Roxette, that's a great band. When we do our show on the 90s,
That'll-
they'll
that'll
be there.
on my list. Where was I?
I'm so sorry.
Got me all
With
lost.
Roxette.
Sorry.
They toured with Roxette.
In May 2019, they released their 5th album, 33. Following the release of 33, the band joined Corey Hart on his Never Surrender Cross Canada tour in 2019. The band continued to perform a number of headlining shows throughout the summer and performed as part of the Sopot International Song Festival in Poland. The songs we know, like I said before, Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone, was number 1 in Canada. Also, backing vocals by Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams.
So
Another
it's-
Canadian.
Their song Someday won a Juno Award, which is a Canadian award.
Do you know what that means?
Speaking of the Grammys, I want to bring this up. I was going to bring this up later on, but does anybody know or care that the Grammys were postponed? You probably didn't even know.
I didn't even
No,
know,
didn't
to be
even
honest with
Yeah,
you.
like, that is how irrelevant. Irrelevant?
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
Or irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or irreverent.
Irreverence?
That's me. I'm
That's
the one who's
you.
irreverent.
Yeah.
Other songs you may not know, but are good to listen to, or I will be there, and I'm still searching. So check those.
So
out.
check out. So if you haven't listened to Glass Tiger, I'm sure they're on Spotify and YouTube.
Glass
No doubt,
Tagger.
yes, they're definitely on YouTube.
You just gotta listen to some Glass Tagger, okay?
Glass Taggart. I want to talk about a band that caught, and I don't even remember exactly how I found out about this band. I may have read Mr. Pittsburgh.
Yes, tell us about it, Lou.
I may have read about their singer in, you're not going to believe this, from, in all places, Contemporary Christian Magazine.
I knew you were going to say that.
Maria McKee.
Uh-huh.
And it was just sort of like, these guys had like a little bit of a, this one is bands that had like a kind of a buzz before they
Right.
released their first album.
Uh-huh.
They're one of those like kind of things. Roots rock band that took Los Angeles by storm in the 80s and developed a smaller but deeply enthusiastic following outside the Golden State. Lone Justice made their name with an energetic fusion of country twang and rock and roll stomp. The group was fronted by Maria McKee, a vocalist whose ability to blend country purity with rock and roll passion earned her plenty of press attention, as well as endorsements from the likes of Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton. Their debut album, 1985 was a great year I graduated high school, called self-titled Lone Justice, showed off the group's talent and McKee's voice. And Ways to Be Wicked and Sweet Sweet Baby I'm Falling were minor hits. But by the time they issued their second LP, Shelter, McKee was the only original member left, and the album explored a different sound, incorporating elements of heartland rock and 80s alternative rock. Formed in Los Angeles by Ryan Hedgecock and singer Maria McKee, half-sister of Brian McLean, a member of the seminal psychedelic outfit called Love. McKee's involvement in the LA club scene dated back to her infancy at the age of 3. She joined McLean as a performance that famed Whiskey A Go-Go and was befriended by Frank Zappa and members of The Doors.
Wow.
As a teen, she studied musical theater, briefly performed in duos with McLean and local blues singer Top Jimmy.
Yay.
McKee and Hedgecock first met while dabbling in the L.A. rockabilly scene, and their mutual affection for country music inspired them to found the band Lone Justice in 1982 with bassist David Harrington and drummer Don Wellens. Initially, the group was strictly a cover band, but the addition of the new rhythm section in 83, veteran bassist Marvin Ezzatoni and Don Heffington, a former drummer in Emmylou Harris's Hot Band, prompted McKee to begin composing original material inspired by Dust Bowl era balladry. Gradually, stronger elements of rock began creeping into Lone Justice sound. Soon the band became a local favorite at the urging of Linda Ronstadt, who was wowed by their live shows. They were awarded a contract with Geffen. Their self-titled debut appeared in 85, followed by a tour in support of U2. I saw that tour.
Did you?
It was
Okay.
it was the Unforgettable Fire tour, and Lone Justice was the opening act. I was, quite frankly, just as excited to see Lone Justice as I was to see U2. They were I camped out.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
dedication.
Gosh, I miss those days.
So that Lone Justice is sort of like, cowpunk almost kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember them.
They did that.
Yeah.
But the album, and I'm not sure why this is not showing up in this thing, also features people like Mike Campbell and Benmont Tench.
Really?
Guesting.
From Tom Petty.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
Tom
I
Petty
believe
Heartbreakers.
"Ways to Be Wicked" was co-written with Benmont Tench and Mike Campbell. I believe those guys are on the album. I just remember getting that record, and then I bought their follow-up called "Shelter," which is very, very good as well. It is a different direction. Their first album is really like in your face. Their second album's a little bit more polished, a little different sound. But
Interesting.
Lone
Wow.
Justice. If you haven't heard Lone Justice, go check them out. You will not be disappointed.
Word.
Yep. And they did release an album called "This World Is Not My Home." So yes, Maria had a religious kind of background, a Christian kind of background. So she's sort of, there's actually some like gospel-y Soap, Soup, and Salvation is a song on the album.
Okay.
And there's like, and a kind of the way Tom Waits will do a gospel song.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? They have that sort of like edgy kind of thing to it without it being like Christian rock
Right.
or, that sort of thing.
She's super pretty too.
Yeah. She was a real cutie. Great voice. Great voice. When I first heard her, I was like, "This is Dolly Parton meets Stevie Nicks." Like that was kind of like how I thought of it. I could be wrong.
You could be.
But that's your opinion, so you're allowed.
That might be your opinion, but it's clearly wrong. So, all right. So my first pick there is Lone Justice. Mr. Pittsburgh, anything you want to join?
You guys,
so we're going to go
are
Lily.
the experts.
Oh, yeah, we're the experts.
Yeah, you are.
My next one is going to be Danger Danger, American glam metal band formed in '87 in Queens, New York, by former Hot Shot members lead vocalist Mike Pont, Bruno Ravel, and drummer Steve West. Also featured the guitarist Al Petrelli and former keyboardist of jazz rock fusion group Get With It, Casey Smith. Mike Pont later left the band and was replaced by Ted Poley, who that's the era I know. He previously played in the band Prophet as the drummer and sometimes lead vocalist. They were sort of a mix of glam with some lighter keyboard for a radio-friendly sound, which was kind of smart in a way, so they could play all the songs. Somewhere during that time, they made a failed attempt at recording a demo. They did release their self-titled debut in 1989, and with the help of MTV and Headbangers Ball, had success with the single Naughty Naughty. Everybody should know that song.
Not to be confused
With
with
the-
Naughty Naughty by John Parr.
Right. Yes, correct. And the other hit was Bang Bang.
Oh, bang, bang, naughty, naughty.
The band went on tour opening for Kiss, Alice Cooper, Extreme, and Warren. Yes. After that, the band went to record their follow-up in Fort Lauderdale, releasing Screw It in 1991. The album spawned two other hits, Monkey Business and I Still Think About You. They went on a tour with Kiss, so Kiss apparently liked this band, probably because they couldn't show them up. Some lineup and record label change-ups happened in the several years after that. The classic lineup, Ted Poley, Bruno Ravel, Steve West, Andy Timmons, and Casey Smith reunited in 2014 for a series
The Andy Timmons?
that I don't know.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out. Even though the second album came out during a time of decline in the 80s metal genre, they still do have a devoted fan base. They still will get super huge crowds at their shows. People love them just for who they are. Their best songs, like I said, are Naughty Naughty, Bang Bang, but other ones to listen to: Don't Walk Away, Saturday Night, Rock America, and Under the Gun. Check those ones out as well. These are
Right.
ones that I love, and I think that everybody will love them too.
There you go.
Okay, very good. Good pick, Lily Von Six.
1-6.
Lily Von Six.
Yes,
Lily
that's
Von
right.
Stop.
I knew you
Oh,
were
my
gonna
God.
say that. I've gotten Lily Von Housen too. Doesn't matter.
Is anybody here? And you know what?
What?
I can't believe when our show last week we did not mention this.
Oh, what?
We did not talk about the movie Roadhouse.
Oh.
The Jeff Healy band
Yeah, right?
is in Roadhouse.
Yes.
And like freaking rock.
Well,
Kicks.
we were just too
They
excited about
kick
that topic.
ass, man.
stupid
That
or
is a great show.
something.
What made Jeff Healy different from other blues rockers was also what kept some listeners from accepting him as anything other than a novelty. The fact that the blind guitarist played his Fender Stratocaster on his lap and not standing up.
that's
Some
crazy.
people were like, guy, what's that guy doing? And he's blind. What a blind guy's.
He don't even. He can't see how to play the guitar right.
I've had a guy woo me with his songs. So you can try it.
With the
there you go,
guitar
then.
on his lap. Healy could make unique bends and hammer-ons, making his licks different and more elastic than most of his competition. Unfortunately, his material leaned towards standard AOR blues rock, which rarely let him cut loose. But when he did, his instrumental prowess could be shocking. Healy lost his sight at the age of 1 after developing eye cancer. Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
He began playing guitar when he was 3 years old. Eat your heart out, Joe Bonamassa. And began performing with his band, Blues Direction, at the age of 17. Healy formed the Jeff Healy Band in 1985, featuring bassist Joe Rockman. Yeah,
There
good
you go. That's a name.
If your name is Joe Rockman, then
You
you
have
have
to.
to
Yeah.
be. You have to get in rock and roll. And drummer Tom Steven. What made the band different from other blues rockers was also, we already said that part. Healy, we're talking. Well, this is like double stuff on double stuff. This is like Oreo double
Like
stuff.
Oreos?
Now I'm hungry.
I haven't had one forever.
Oh my god. Okay, so anyway, the trio released one single on its own Forte record label, which led to a contract with Arista. Remember when
Arista.
we're gonna talk about this a little bit
Yeah.
later. Arista, when record labels were like it, you know what I mean? And certain record labels, put out this kind of music, and other record labels put out that kind of music, etc. Somebody likes Lone Justice. Somebody on Facebook. Cool.
Nice. Who was it, Lily?
Bill Thomas.
Oh, Bill.
Hi, Billy.
Cool. The true. So, anyways, the Jeff Healy Band released their debut album "See the Light" in 1988, and the guitarist immediately developed a devoted following of blues rock circles. Featuring the hit single "Angel Eyes," the record went platinum in the U.S. While Jeff Healy Band's subsequent records were popular, none were successful as his debut. As the 21st century dawned, Healy began to change his direction. He taught himself to play trumpet and began to lean toward a kind of traditional 1920s and 30s jazz that had always fascinated him. He released 2 classic jazz albums, O2's Among Friends and O4's Adventures in Jazzland, on his own Healy Ophonic label.
That's fun.
And a third traditional jazz outing, It's Tight Like That, which appeared on Stony Plain. Listen to Lily, like
nice,
out the innuendo. Good job.
Nice.
I've been hanging out with you guys.
Apparently,
He continued to do shows with his earlier blues rock style. He increasingly gigged with his jazz combo. They were called the Jazz Wizards. In 2008, a month before the release of his last studio blues album, Mesa Blues, Healy died from cancer. Songs from the Road, a collection of live blues rock performances from 2006 and 2007, was released by Ruff, which is a Ruff Records. A lot of folks, Anna Popovic, a lot of people got started on
there
Ruff
you go. Yeah.
as a great blues, very friendly towards like guitar, type music. The final studio jazz album, Last Call, was issued by Stony Plain in April of 2010. Other archival releases continue to find their way out of the vaults, including Heal My Soul, a record of unheard studio recordings released on what would have been Healy's 50th birthday, March 25th, 2016.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, Jeff is no longer with us. As we were mentioning a minute ago, yes, check out the movie Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Because
He's
that's
in
the
it.
band.
Yeah.
That's the band in the bar where Swayze and Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott also. Yeah.
Sam
I
Elliott's
forgot
in
his
that.
name again.
Yep.
He's in that.
Sam the Sham and the Pharaoh Man.
I have a question.
A question.
I have a question about Jeff. You say he learned how to play the trumpet.
Oh boy, here we go.
Did he play that in his lap also?
Wow.
What? Too soon? Is that too soon? Everybody?
What? You know what?
What? There he is.
I saw it coming. God help us.
Wow.
Just wow.
He played that in his lap also.
Oh. Fred, turn off his microphone, please. Thank you. Okay,
Guys!
Lily V6.
The next one on my list is Femme Fatale.
Ooh, that sounds hot.
Hey now.
American hard rock band originally formed in Albuquerque, but the band moved to LA.
Should have made that left-handed
That's
Albuquerque.
right.
I was waiting. The band moved to Los Angeles and released one studio album before disbanding. Their self-titled debut in '88 immediately became a success on MTV with their video "Waiting for the Big One." Okay. And the other song was "Falling In and Out of Love." Not the Lita Ford song, "Falling In and Out of Love." Their own song.
In and out of love.
It propelled them into the top 200 charts in the U.S. Femme Fatale was unable to match the popularity of other bands in the glam metal scene. They saw their status at MCA shrink, and the band's manager, Andrea Accardo, developed a rare brain cancer. Shortly after touring the world in support of Cheap Trick, recording was to commence on a new album, but ultimately it was not completed and the band dissolved in 1990. But in 2013, Lorraine Lewis, who was the lead singer of the band, reformed the band with a new lineup consisting of Courtney Cox, who is now in Iron Maiden.
What?
What?
Not that Courtney Cox.
Oh.
Courtney Cox is a guitarist.
She just get up on stage and
The
start
Iron
dancing.
Maidens.
That was the whole thing.
I thought because she got on stage with
No.
Bruce.
Right,
like,
yeah, so
you know.
that was her
No,
gig.
this is the blonde Courtney Cox.
Oh.
And Nita Strauss on guitars.
Oh, there you go.
Janice Tanaka on bass, Kat Scarlett on keyboards, and both Rachel Wren and Athena on drums. In January 2019, Lorraine was named as the new vocalist for another all-female band, Vixen.
Ooh.
So Femme Fatale's contemporaries, they were Femme Fatale's contemporaries during the glam metal heyday. She succeeded Janet Gardner, who stepped down to give more priority to her budding solo career. Lewis had earlier stood in for Gardner in Oklahoma during the March 28 performance, and after Femme Fatale played their show in 2019, Monsters of Rock cruised in late February, the band quietly disbanded for good, and they never recorded any song in the studio as an all-female group. But their songs Falling In Out of Love, Waiting for the Big One, Touch and Go, and Rebel are by far their best songs. Give them. I know they only have one album, but these songs are all solid for female-type songs. Very Vixen-like. They predated Vixen, but the one song Touch and Go is featured in the film License to Drive. So.
Cool. Good job. How many have you done so far, Lily?
I think 3.
That was 3.
And I think I did Lone Justice,
did 2.
the Jeff Healy band.
Right.
So Lily was talking about these ladies and their interrelationship with the band Vixen.
Right.
Ironically, Vixen is on my list as well.
Shut up. Really?
Before I do that real quick, I just want to say, speaking of Courtney Cox, I want to say that Robin Zander had a birthday this week. He was on a couple days ago. He's 68 years old. Robin Zander from Cheap Trick.
And he still rocks.
Happy birthday,
Yes.
Mr.
My
Zander.
favorite singer.
Yes, Vixen. I've been living on the edge of a broken heart. Who can't relate to that?
Right.
An all-female American rock band that specializes in melodic hard rock, glam, and pop metal. It's interesting. Can a female rock band be glam?
Of course.
Whoa.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Whoa,
like, they're already,
dude.
because, the glam bands are, dressing like women.
Correct.
What if the
How is
women
a female-
dress like men?
Yeah. Like it
Whoa.
doesn't, yeah, so
It just all intermixes.
it's one of
They
those
got
things.
three-piece
It's just-
suits on.
Look, I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
They just
Yeah.
switch clothes.
I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
Vixen found commercial success in the late 80s and early 90s. Okay.
But mostly
Sorry,
80s.
mostly 80s. Edge of a Broken Heart, Crying, How Much Love, all which enjoyed heavy rotation on MTV. The group's popularity waned in the wake of the grunge and alternative rock boom, resulting in frequent hiatuses and lineup changes, but Vixen continued to make new music and perform well into the next century despite enduring numerous hardships, most notably in 2013, the death of founder, guitarist Jan, say that, Lily? Kunemund. The remaining classic lineup members, Janet, Roxy, and Sherry, elected to carry on in Kunemund's honor and continue to tour, culminating the release of the concert LP Live Fire in 2018.
But now Janet Gardner is replaced by Lorraine Lewis.
See, it's all
Crazy.
Who I've met.
They're
She's awesome.
crazy.
All-American. They
Mixing,
specialize
matching.
in melodic hard rock, as we said. In 97, convened around Gardner, Petrucci, and guitarist Gina Style, issued the group's third studio long play, Tangerine, via CMC International record label. Comeback proved to be short-lived, but in 2002, Kunemund put together another iteration of the group. So this was one of those bands where there were multiple Vixens touring around.
It's like a female Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
It's still 50% of the band, though. It's still 2 out of the 4 girls. originally.
Roxy, right?
Yeah, Roxy Brucey, yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's great. So Vixen was on my list as one of those bands. If you haven't listened, go back and check them out. A little bit of a twist on that glam thing, just a little bit of a twist because they are ladies.
Yes, true.
So right, exactly. Okay, so you want to do another one?
I can do one
So
more.
we've done 4.
Yeah.
I've done 4. You're gonna do. Is this gonna be number 4 for you?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Sure.
Try to keep it around 10 if we can.
Giant, American melodic rock.
Giants.
The
They're
Giants.
really big.
Oh my god.
What?
Formed in '87. Band originally consisted of founding members Dan Huff and Alan Pasqua, and Don Hans. Wow, I can't speak. And had Dan's brother David Huff on drums. The Huff brothers were part of the founding members of the Christian rock band Whiteheart.
Oh, remember them?
Yep.
Yeah.
The band scored 1 hit. Unfortunately, it was a 1990 hit, but I'll See You in My Dreams, written by Alan Pasqua and Mark Spiro. Giant disbanded in the early 90s after recording 2 albums, but resurfaced in 2000 minus Alan Pasqua and released the album 3 in late 2001. basically, they've come back and left. But Giant released their first studio album in 12 years, entitled Shifting Time, on January 21st, 2022. So literally a couple days ago,
all right,
they
then.
just released their new album.
Great.
I'll See You in My Dreams, I'm a Believer, No Way Out, Shake Me Up are the best songs, I think, from the band. But you'll have to check them out for yourself.
You know what they should do?
What? Smart ass.
If they go out on tour,
No, I don't even want to hear it. You're done.
Their opening band should be Little
I
Kiss.
hate you. It's Midget Kiss anyway.
Well, I'm trying
Mini
to be.
Kiss.
I'm trying Mini Kiss. Yeah.
I wanna rock and roll all night.
Right, Lou? Right, Lou?
I agree. I agree.
Lou?
I agree.
Lou. Who turned off my mic?
Bones.
Bones did. It's his new job.
I am trying.
Hit the censor button.
I can't find it right now, but I know that Dan Huff produced an album for Megadeth.
Well,
I cannot remember which one.
Oh, hold
but
on.
here's a list of people that Dan has worked with: Shania Twain, Reba McEntire, Peter Cetera,
Ooh.
Rascal Flatts, Keith Urban, Bon Jovi,
wow.
DC Talk, Glenn Campbell,
Jeepers.
Janie Fricke, Kenny Rogers, Kid Rock, Keith Urban. I said Keith Urban already. Michael McDonald, speaking of the Doobie Boobies. The Judds.
The Judge.
The Judds. Martina McBride. He's a Nashville guy, so this would make
Yeah, there you
sense.
go.
George Benson. So there's a wide variety.
Wow. Yeah, he's all over there.
Leanne Rimes, Kid Rock again.
Cryptic Writings by Megadeth.
I knew he did a Megadeth album. Because Metallica worked with Bob Rock, and Megadeth did a record with Dan Huff. Bill Withers, Lionel Richie, Trace Adkins.
Man.
All these people.
Jewel.
Oh, yeah, his list is quite extensive.
It's like, he's a real musician's musician. Just one of these,
DeBarge.
DeBarge.
man.
Celine Dion, Grover Washington Jr.,
Jeepers. Creepers.
Rodney Crowell, Michael Bolton,
Amy Grant.
Scritti Politti,
Scritty Politti.
Miles Davis,
Etta James.
Really?
Amy Grant,
Wow. Oh, see?
Lone Star,
The Magic of
Lone
Disney.
Star. I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Sorry.
And there it is.
Oh, I'm gonna do one more. This was a band that there was a guy that I met when I was in early high school, and this guy was a little bit older than me. He was a senior at Peters and was on his way to college, and he gave me 2 albums on vinyl and said, just keep them. He said, when I come back from college break, he's not going to back off you.
Yeah.
And the first album was called The Stand, and the next album was called Declaration. And they were by a band called The Alarm.
Oh, yeah.
With Idealistic Spirit, a powerhouse live show, and Bigger Than Big Hair, The Alarm were part of an early 80s wave of bands like The Call, Big Country, The Waterbeat, and The Waterboys, who dealt with soaring anthems inspired by the righteous idealism of punk, clearly influenced by the impassioned political fervor of The Clash. The Alarm also worked in a mostly acoustic folk punk vein that provided counterpoint to their hard-driving guitar rockers. Their stage look was unquestionably a product of the 80s, with enormous spiked-up hair accompanied by cowboy old-time cavalry wardrobe. Check out the back cover of Declaration. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yet the numerous comparisons to U2 in the press were not unfounded. Despite a more conservative sonic palette, The Alarm had much the same earnest intensity, the same messianic ambitions, and even the same vague spirituality. Likewise, The Alarm seemed to covet... I can't seem... This stupid all music, I don't know what they're doing here. But they're from Wales, formed in 81 by Mike Peters, who started out in a local punk band called The Toilets.
That sounds like a punk band.
Wow.
Along with Nigel Twist on drums. That's a Cool name. With the band, the band broke up. Peters was playing bass, formed a new outfit called 17 after the Sex Pistols song with guitarist Eddie McDonald and Dave Sharp, both local scenesters, longtime friends. 17 was initially influenced by the Pistols and the Clash, the mod revival punk of the Jam, punk pop of Rich Kids, etc. Songwriting interest grew more socially conscious in 81, and the group reinvented itself as The Alarm, taking the name from a 17 song called Alarm Alarm. Later that year, they moved to London and released their self-titled debut, penned political rocker called Unsafe Building. So their albums include Strength, like I said, Declaration. Their first album is an EP based on the Stephen King novel The Stand.
Fun.
Wow.
And yeah. So it's really interesting. But what they did was they played acoustic guitars, but they put electric pickups in them and played through Marshall stacks.
Okay.
Ah, there you go. Perfect.
Eddie Sharp, not Eddie Sharp. I'm sorry. Dave Sharp. Eddie McDonald. Dave Sharp. Dave Sharp was has like one of the coolest quotes. It was they did get he got into Guitar Player magazine. He's not any kind of shredder or anything, just kind of a tasteful rock guitar player. But he was talking about his Marshall, a 100-watt Marshall stack, and he told the guy, he said, it has two settings, off and brain damage.
Nice.
I bought a 50-watt Marshall, non-master volume, just like he had, but he had 100-watt, and even at 50 watts, it was off and brain damage.
Yeah.
That was the two sounds. That was it. But anyway, so I love The Alarm. They broke up and got back together. They broke up. They got back together. They broke up. They got back together. Peters went on and did like a kind of like, his own version of The Alarm. Worked with Billy Duffy from The Cult. Different stuff like that. You know what happens? They had arguments. How it goes. Mm-hmm. I saw these guys live as well. You'll never guess who they opened for.
You too?
Cheap Trick.
Oh.
Nope.
Emmylou Harris.
Nope.
Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters.
Oh, yeah.
Pat Benatar.
Oh, nice.
And I went.
Okay.
I bought the tickets because I wanted to see The Alarm.
Yep.
Pat Benatar was awesome, by the way.
Yes.
They did a great show. But I was like, oh my God, The Alarm is coming to Pittsburgh. I'm never going to ever see them because they're like a kind of like weird indie kind of like group. But she had them on the tour with them, and
that's cool.
It was very cool. I was like I was like, whoa, Pat, like you got like
kind of cool.
Kind of went up in my thing.
Yeah.
But the critics compared them a lot to U2. In fact, people called them U3.
Oh,
for a while, but they're not. It's just because of Mike Peters has that. That same kind of earnest kind of thing that Bono does, hard on his sleeve kind of like thing, and he has a kind of soaring kind of vocal. But The Alarm.
there you go.
The Alarm. The Alarm. Do we have any comments? Anybody's asking any questions that we need to address?
No. You've seen all the things.
Wow. I see how people are. We are going to take a short break.
Do you have to pee? Do you have to go pee?
I was going to take a little break.
Okay.
And play a song, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to do I want to talk about interesting thing, and I want to get you guys' perspective on it.
Sure.
Article came out in The Atlantic this month about, old music, kind of killing new music.
Oh my God.
With regards to the getting streams and downloads. So we're gonna be right back. This is the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. You guys go get a drink, have a smoke and a pancake. So, all right, guys, we'll be right back.
Around the valley floor, I hear the cry of another people. Take my hand and walk through this door. I'm gonna raise you up to the top of the steeple. Trash talking, sideways walking. They do their best, practical magic, reality twisted. I'm insistent, this comedy is turning tragic. Let's rewrite unspoken four-letter word. My body shakes and twitches all night from every word I never heard. I need one thing to make my eyes red. With the sound of music so sweet, it's a love sign, not a battle cry that will make the world I need. Hold me in your arms, sing to me. We want peace in the valley, the peace in the valley we pray. Give us peace in the valley, peace in the valley today. We want love in the valley, we'll make love in the valley all day. Give us peace in the valley, peace in the valley today. Hold me in your arms, sing to me. We want peace in the valley, for peace we pray. In the valley today, I just want some. Give me some. I'll make love every night and day. Give us peace in the valley today. We want peace in the valley, for peace in the valley we pray. Give us peace in the valley, peace in the valley today. We want love in the valley, we'll make love in the valley all day. Give us peace in the valley, peace in the valley today.
We're back, everybody. Welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. Peace in the Valley. My latest song featuring Keith the Hawk Hawkins himself on drums, Katie Simone singing with me on that, me pretty much doing everything else, and Mike Ofka, who mixed the thing for me and made it sound freaking amazing. So check it out. Go to loulombardimusic.com to get more stuff like that. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed our little, foray there into the 80s with music that maybe bands that you would, if maybe you didn't know about, heard forgotten about, etc. So glad you guys enjoyed it. Let us know about some bands, and because we're gonna do part 2, part 3, part 4, blah blah blah. So if you I ran a post this week about it. So throw some bands in there, and somebody mentioned
Yes.
Is there a band called Helix? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Helix,
actually have it on my list.
Okay. But I would say like Talus.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen them.
That's a good band with that same sort of thing going on.
Oh, Helix is great.
Yeah.
I freaking love Helix.
Yeah, great band.
Chris Thunderwolf, real quick. I was talking about the movie That Thing You Do. They're playing the band Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters in a movie in that movie. So that's what I was talking about.
Oh.
To answer your question.
Gotcha. Okay. So interesting thing came out this week. The Atlantic, is old music killing new music? Old songs now represent 70% of the U.S. music market, according to the latest numbers from MRC Data, a music analytics firm. Those who make a living from new music, especially the endangered species known as the working musician, should look at these figures with fear and trembling. I don't necessarily agree with that. The new music market is actually shrinking. All the growth in the market is from old songs. The 200 most popular new tracks now regularly count for less than 5% of total streams.
Wow.
Well, that's the people like me and Lily and Kevin hanging out after the podcast. Hey, play Billy Idol's greatest hits.
That's
True.
jerks.
Yeah.
So the rate was twice as high just 3 years ago. The mix of songs actually purchased by consumers is even more tilted towards older music. The current list of most downloaded tracks on iTunes is filled with names of bands from the previous century, such as Creedence Clearwater Revival and The Police. Goya says, I encountered this phenomenon myself recently at a retail store where the youngster at the cash register was singing along with Sting on Message in a Bottle, a hit from 79, as it blasted from the radio. A few days earlier, I had a similar experience at a local diner where the entire staff was under 30, but every song was more than 40 years old.
Yep.
I asked my server, why are you playing this old music? She looked at me in surprise before answering, oh, I like these songs. Never before in history have new tracks attained hit status while generating so little cultural impact. In fact, the audience seems to be embracing the hits of decades past. Success has always, it was always short-lived in the music business, but now even new songs that become bona fide hits can pass unnoticed by much of the population. Only songs released in the past 18 months get classified as new. So people could conceivably be listening to a lot of 2-year-old songs rather than 60-year-old ones. But I doubt these old playlists consist of songs from the year before last. Even if they did, the fact would still represent a repudiation of the pop culture industry, which is almost entirely focused on what's happening right now. Every week, I hear from hundreds of publicists, record labels, band managers, and other professionals who want to hype the newest thing. Their livelihoods depend on it. The entire business model of the new music industry built on promoting new songs. As a music writer, I am expected to do the same. As the radio stations, retailers, DJs, nightclub owners, editors, playlist curators, and everyone else with skin in the game. Yet, all the evidence indicates that few listeners are paying any attention. Consider the reaction of the Grammy Awards, reaction to the Grammy Awards being put on. Lily and Kevin didn't even know that had happened. Perhaps I should say the lack of reaction, because the cultural response was little more than a yawn. I follow thousands of music professionals on social media and didn't encounter a single expression of annoyance or regret about this.
Yep.
I gotta tell you, man. It's like have we even talked about the Rock Hall yet?
No. Well, a while ago.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about it for this year.
No.
No.
Why would we?
Exactly. The declining TV audience for Grammy show underscores this shift. In 2001, viewership for the ceremony collapsed 53% from the previous year. Least watched Grammy broadcast of all time. Even the core audience for new music couldn't be bothered. 90% of the people 18 to 49 had something better to do than to watch the Grammys. A decade ago, 40 million people watched the Grammy Awards. It's a meaningful audience.
Yeah.
But now devoted fans of this event are starting to resemble a tiny subculture. More people pay attention to streams of video games on Twitch, or the latest reality TV show. In fact, musicians would probably do better getting placement in Fortnite than signing a record signing a record deal in 2022.
That's pretty legit.
Some would like to believe that this trend is just a short-term blip, perhaps caused by the pandemic.
Nope.
When clubs open up again, the DJs start spinning new records at parties, the world will return to normal, or so we're told. The hottest songs, again, will be the newest songs, but I'm not so optimistic. A series of unfortunate events are conspiring to marginalize new music. The pandemic is just one of these ugly facts, but hardly the only contributor to the growing crisis. Okay, so you want to consider these trends. The leading area of investment in music business is old songs. Investment firms are getting into bidding wars, buying publishing catalogs from aging rock and pop stars. The song catalogs in most demand are by musicians who are in their 70s or 80s, like Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, Bruce Springsteen, or already dead, like David Bowie and James Brown. Even major record labels are participating in the rush to old music. Universal, Sony, Warner, and others are buying up publishing catalogs and investing huge sums in old tunes. In a previous time, that money would have been used to launch new artists. So they're taking their resources and they're banking on old music and not putting anything into new shit. The best-selling physical format in music, vinyl LP, which is more than 70 years old. So people are buying an album.
Yeah.
I've seen no signs that record labels are investing in newer, better alternative because here too, old is viewed as superior to new. In fact, record labels, once a source of innovation in consumer products, don't spend any money on research and development to revitalize their business, although every other industry looks to innovation for growth and consumer excitement. Record stores are caught up in the same warp. In early era, they aggressively marketed new music, but now they make more money from vinyl reissues of used LPs. Radio stations are contributing to this stagnation, putting fewer new songs into their rotation. When a new song overcomes these obstacles and actually becomes a hit, the risk of copyright lawsuits is greater than ever before. The risks have increased enormously since the Blurred Lines jury decision in 2015, and the result is additional cash. The result is that additional cash gets transferred from today's musicians to old or deceased artists. Adding to the nightmare, dead musicians are now coming back to life in virtual form. Holograms, deep fake, making it all harder for young living artists to compete in the marketplace. As record labels lose interest in new music, emerging performers desperately search for other ways to get exposure. They hope to place self-produced tracks on curated streaming playlists or license their songs for use in advertising or closing credits of a TV show. Those options might generate some royalty income, but they do little to build name recognition. You might hear a cool song on a TV commercial, but do you even know the name of the artist?
Nope.
You love your workout playlist at your health club, but how many song titles and band names do you remember? You stream a Spotify new music playlist in the background while you work, but did you bother to learn who's singing the songs? I do. It's something that really interests me, but a lot of people do not.
I do, but it's part of my job.
Decades ago, the composer Eric Satie warned of the arrival of furniture music, a kind of song that would blend seamlessly into the background of our lives. His vision seems closer to reality than ever. Some people, especially baby boomers, tell me this decline in popular new music is simply the result of lousy new songs. Music used to be better, or so they say. The old songs had better melodies, more interesting harmonies, blah, blah, blah. Auto-tune, regurgitated samples, but everybody's kind of sick of that shit. There will never be another Joni Mitchell or Bob Dylan, Cole Porter or Brian Wilson. I almost expect these doomsayers to break out in a stirring rendition of old-time rock and roll. I can understand the frustration of music lovers who get satisfaction from current mainstream songs, though they're trying to listen to new music, but they can't really find what they want. I disagree with the boomers' friends' large verdict. I listen to 2 or 3 hours of new music every day. I know that plenty of exceptional young musicians are out there trying to make it. They exist. But the music industry has lost its ability to discover and nurture their talents. Music industry bigwigs have plenty of excuses for their inability to discover and adequately promote new great artists. The fear of copyright lawsuits has many in the industry deathly afraid of listening to unsolicited demo recordings. If you hear a demo today, you might get sued for stealing its melody or maybe just rhythmic groove 5 years from now. Try mailing a demo to a label or producer and watch it return unopened. The people whose livelihood depends on discovering new musical talent face legal risks if they take their job seriously. That's only one of the deleterious results of the music industry's over-reliance on lawyers and litigation, a hard-ass approach they once hoped would cure all the problems, but now does more harm than good. See, this is the thing that, like, we've talked about this before. I can't play fucking music on this show.
Right?
I'm not allowed.
You get in trouble.
This is one of the reasons you fuckers aren't hearing new music. It's
Right.
bullshit.
'Cause everybody's a
Remember back in the
Everybody's
day?
a crybaby. Everybody's got a fucking attorney. This fucking horse shit. I mean,
Yeah.
this is, me and Kevin and Lily and all my buddies out there who have podcasts, we are the tastemakers. We are the guys who are supposed to say, hey, check this band
this
out.
out.
Yeah.
Here's the story behind this band. They're so awesome. Whatever, fill in the blank. And this is why you should check them out. Check out how awesome this song is. And we would bring our enthusiasm to it. Okay? The only place you hear shit like that, there's Rock Rage Radio's cool, and there's a couple of things like that, but Sirius and those places can only play so much fucking music. Their local stations won't do it.
No, they,
Right.
They will not do
Right.
it. Okay, YEP, which you can only get, on Carson Street.
right. So if you're there,
Yeah. So the moguls, the industry they've lost their faith in this, and this whole legal thing has caused all kind of problems. Everybody's because what they did was, here is the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
The industry did not embrace the new technology. Instead, they fought it. And they're still fighting it with lawsuits and all this crap. And they're going to Congress. We need stricter, blah, blah, blah. This is not how you do it.
No.
I mean, it's really frustrating. And there are great bands. There are fucking awesome bands out there, and there's great music out there. It's fucking horseshit. In an effort to not become that old guy who only listens to his Sabbath and his Zeppelin and his 80's and whatever, I turned on Octane about a month ago, and I'm sticking with it because I want to know who the new bands are. I want to know what's going on. And guys, they play maybe 5 bands over and over
Legit.
and over and over. There's good and bad to that. One of the reasons the music that we grew up and we loved so much is because the radio stations played the shit out of it until you liked it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
they forced you.
But in those days, those were the people that picked that music. They were really interested in music. Now today, it's all an algorithm,
Right.
and there's all kind of graphs and charts on what music is people will listen longest to, so they can sell more advertising, and this is why it's dying.
Yep.
Even music genres famous for shaking up the world, rock or jazz or hip-hop, face the same deadening industry mindset. I love jazz, but many of the radio stations focus on that genre, play songs that sound almost the same as what they featured 10 or 20 years ago. In many instances, they actually are the same songs. State of affairs is not inevitable. A lot of musicians around the world, especially in LA and London, are conducting a bold dialogue between jazz and other contemporary styles. They're even bringing back jazz as dance music. But the songs they release sound dangerously different from older jazz and are thus excluded from radio stations for the same fucking reason. So, you're not going to get any new music if you're afraid to fucking play it. This is why people things like the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus and, Hot Licks with Lily Six and all, they need to be able to really promote this music. That is what is missing. The industry needs to embrace this and not run from it. This is the problem. So anyways, this is a great article. It's in the Atlantic. Just do a Google search on is old music killing new music. It's really fast. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I've read a lot of it for you guys, and I think you get the thing. So what do you guys think? So Lily, Kevin, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think when you and I were growing up, and even you, Lily, the only 2 places you heard new music was the radio, or if you went out and saw the band.
MTV.
Well,
And MTV. All right, so there's 3. Nowadays, there are so many different venues. You've got YouTube, Spotify, all of them.
Well, how do you know what to listen to?
Exactly. And granted, like when we were growing up, we were kind of, like you said, kind of force-fed the same stuff over and over until we fell in love with it. But now there's so much stuff, and if you're listening to something on Spotify and I'm watching something on YouTube, the two may never meet. So we may, So I think the newer music is just lost in the shuffle, where, people our age create the demand for the stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and that's probably why the numbers are so high, And then we listen to it, and those of us who have kids, they start listening to it, and they're like, yeah, this is pretty good. Dad's been playing this, for years, and it's just, the music world is so big right now. That's one thought. The other thought is money, which has ruined rock and roll for years.
Well, it makes me wonder, like, could a band like Van Halen, could that even happen now?
Probably not.
Like, in this climate, what sucks is that there is the next Van Halen. They're out there.
Oh, yeah.
The next Led Zeppelin, the next U2, next Police, the next Motley Crue. They're all out there. They're out there, but they're not getting shake. Lily, what are your thoughts on it?
To jump off what Kevin was saying, I think there are just too many options. Kids get bored really quick these days.
Mm-hmm.
They get super bored. There's too many things to do. They're not going to listen to it. Now, also from what you said earlier, old music is showing up in brand new movies. For example, the movie Cruella. It's a Disney movie. It's all 70s music. There's Rolling Stones in it, all kinds of music, like that type of music. So that's what the kids are listening to. Again, their parents listen to that stuff. And I go to 90s nights where the kids are like 20 years younger than me, and they are dancing to music that they have no idea what the music is. So they're just bored. I think they just get super bored with new stuff, and they're just used to hearing all the old stuff because it's all just resurfacing in different forms.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think those are all really good. I think these are all, here's the thing. The solution, etc., usually is never one thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's always like, a little bit of, and I think one of the things is one of the biggest things, the industry, and I remember when it happened, when Metallica sued Napster. Yep. And this was like the start of like everybody crapping their pants.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What should have happened right then was Columbia Records or whoever should have bought Napster that day and said, like, this is the new technology. This is what's going to drive the new music. And, they should have dove into it. No, they fought it. They are still fucking fighting it.
They're afraid of it. That's why.
They don't know what to do. And they keep coming up with all these stupid, there's this new technology, and I apologize. I know somebody out there, Hal, you probably know what it's called, where they can put a kind of code on the song, and like somehow they know that that's the only original version or some horse shit like that. That's not it. You're missing the fucking point. The internet is an opportunity to actually really spread music and to get build excitement about new music. It is it's waiting for that. It is like what I have me and Joe Freeman and my friend Carrie did a year of podcasts on what musicians can do to actually leverage the internet. The industry isn't going to do it. The industry is still stuck in this 1970s and 80s and 90s, record label when you get signed and blah 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 blah. That is not how it's done anymore. That is so fucking over. It's been over. Okay? And there are so many artists out there that are micro indie little businesses, and they're doing great, and they've got their core following, and they don't give a fuck. They don't need you. So let us play the music. Let YouTubers and then you guys figure out another way to monetize it. But this music is not going to fucking survive. It's not going to go anywhere if you do not embrace what is going on. It's streaming music and stuff is 25 years old now, or almost 30 years old,
right?
and they're still fucking fighting it. It's ridiculous. It's redonkulous.
It's redonkulous.
Okay, so I just wanted to kind of share that with you guys. I want to know what you guys think. Feel free to leave some comments. This day in music.
Ooh.
Let's get to this.
It's always my favorite part.
This is one of my favorite things. The Quarrymen.
I've heard of them.
You ever heard of the Quarrymen?
They never went on to do anything else.
They never did anything else. It's really a sad thing. It was 3 years later when they appeared again at the Cavern under their new name, the Beatles. So they appeared at the Cavern Club this day in 1958. This also in 58, Elvis was at #1 on the UK singles charts with Jailhouse Rock. What a great song.
Wow, there you go.
What a great fucking song. Epstein didn't kill himself, but he signed a management deal with the Beatles to receive 25% of the band's gross earnings. The normal management deal was 10%. This is Brian Epstein.
Wow.
He's very smart.
Yes.
Otto Harbach died at the age of 90 in New York City. He co-wrote "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes."
Oh, he's
Next day,
old.
1958.
He was old.
The Doors appeared at Madison Square Garden in New York City. They were paid over $50,000 for the gig, making them one of the highest paid acts that year in 1969, dudes. Okay. On this day in 1969, New Jersey state prosecutors issued a warning to U.S. record dealers that they would be charged with distributing pornography if they were caught selling the John Lennon Yoko Ono LP, Two Virgins. The front cover of the album showed the pair frontally nude, while the back cover showed them from behind. The album still managed to reach 124 in the U.S., but failed to chart at all in the U.K., where only 5,000 copies were ever pressed.
I assure you, nobody's getting off on that.
No, not Yoko.
On this day in 1970, Led Zeppelin appeared at Leeds. On this day in 1976, Mr. Bob Dylan, who we talked about earlier, started a 5-week run at #1 on the U.S. chart with his 17th studio album, Desire. The album features Hurricane, which protests the conviction of former middleweight boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter for triple murder in 1966, arguing his innocence.
I love that song.
Yeah, it's a cool song. And a lot of people have talked about that. Other musicians have done songs about the Hurricane as well. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what bands should do.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about nobody wants to hear new music. Maybe if they did what I'm about to tell you the Pink Floyd did on this day in 1980, maybe we could turn a couple things around.
Okay.
In 1980, on this day, a billboard was erected. On Sunset
Sitting in
Strip,
between Beavis and Butthead.
West Hollywood, California, to promote Pink Floyd's new album at the time, The Wall.
Oh.
So that was a new album at one time.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, a blank wall was pasted up, and each day a brick was removed to slowly reveal the inside spread and the title of the album.
Well,
Clever.
That's something.
New
There you go.
41 years
Brilliant.
Let's do something, guys. You could do stuff. Come on. There's a great idea right there.
We're giving you the ideas.
I know. What's the matter with people? 1999, The Offspring went to #1 the UK singles charts with Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
I hate that song. That was my ex-husband to a T.
So it isn't only rockers that get themselves into trouble.
Yeah.
On this day in 2005, country singer Lynn Anderson was arrested for shoplifting. After her and Winona Ryder should hang out,
Yeah,
right?
they should.
After being caught stealing a Harry Potter DVD from a New Mexico supermarket and punching a police officer during her arrest. 57-year-old had the 70s top hit Rose Garden.
Wow.
Breaking the law.
Breaking the law.
Yeah, or breaking the law.
Yeah.
Wow.
On this day, tell me to go to rehab. I say no.
Oh.
Amy Winehouse was admitted into rehab and about to kick her addiction to drugs. The statement from her record company, Universal, said she entered the facility after talks with her record label management, family, and doctors to continue her ongoing recovery against drug addiction, which clearly
She
liked to party. Listen to the song Rehab.
Yeah.
She just wanted to party and listen to music.
That's all.
She wanted to listen to Ray
That's
Charles
all.
and get wasted.
Sometimes you just gotta pull it back.
Very sad this day in 2017. Allman Brothers band drummer Butch Trucks died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
In West Palm Beach.
You know, you think if you were in the Allman Brothers and you were living in West Palm Beach, that you probably had the world by the ass, but I guess not.
Apparently not.
We got some birthdays. You know who Zeke Carey is?
I do now that I'm reading it.
Yes, I only have eyes for you.
One of my favorite songs.
Wrote that, born this day in 1933. Aaron Neville.
There you
Tell
go.
it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know much with Linda Ronstadt,
Yep,
born
yep.
1941, one of the Neville brothers.
Much.
Neil Diamond. Bum, bum, bum.
Do you remember Desiree? That is
Believer.
bad.
He wrote what people don't realize is that Neil
Songwriter.
Diamond was a songwriter before
Yes.
he was like an artist in
Right.
he was writing songs for other people. So cool. Ray Stevens. And they call him the Streak.
God,
No, but it was too late. She'd already been mooned. Incensed. Werewolves of London. Happy birthday to Mr. Warren Zevon. What am I?
Oh, you're a zit.
Happy birthday to John Belushi.
Oh.
That was an improv thing he did.
Was it really?
It was improv. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was improv. I just saw you. There's a great YouTube channel called Landom C. And it is all about classic movies and classic television shows. And it just was like mini documentaries. And it's super fun. And I just watched the one on Animal House.
Animal House?
Really good,
Oh,
really good.
nice.
You know, and I saw, speaking of movies, I just watched Point Blank with Lee Marvin.
Oh,
And
wow.
speaking of, I'm going to bring it back to John
Okay,
Belushi,
okay.
Animal House. John Vernon, 0.0.
Yes.
That
Yes.
was his first movie. Was
it really?
Was Point Blank
Point
with Lee
Blank with-
Marvin.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it says introducing John Vernon.
How about that?
Interesting. Matthew Wilder. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Money gonna pull me down. Oh no. I'm gonna get a copyright strike for this. Was born this day in 1953.
Wow.
Jules Holland. And Kevin says he's never seen live with later with Jules Holland.
No, no,
You
have not
should
seen it.
watch it.
Uh-huh.
It's fan-fucking-tastic.
Fan-
It's all
fucking
great,
tastic.
great bands, great music.
Cool.
But he was a founding member of Squeeze. Went on to create later
There
with
you
Jules
go.
Holland on the BBC.
Mm-hmm,
Beth Hart, American singer-songwriter,
yes.
blues musician, done some records with Joe Bonamassa.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Beth Hart.
birthday, Beth.
Christopher River Hess, drummer with, and this band, I'm sure you guys need to change your name. Drummer with the band Hoobastank. You never want stank
Not
in a name in your band name. Ever.
No.
They're a lot later than I thought. I thought they were
And the
90s.
reason is you. That is this day in music.
There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, children of all ages, this is the end. Wow. Of the Loudini.
You got your
Rock
money's
and Roll
worth
Circus.
tonight.
I know. We really hit almost an hour and a half.
Wow.
Magical.
No, we're going to go, once we get guests on here, we're going to be going to Joe Rogan territory.
Oh,
then
boy.
we're going to have to be doing mushrooms and all
to
kinds
take a
of
nap.
stuff. So,
I don't like mushrooms on my pizza.
all right,
Or
guys.
anchovies.
So, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. I am going to tell you, because I have it, if I can find it, what next week's show is. Next week will be the 31st.
Yeah.
10 bands that remind us that classic rock isn't dead. So there are bands. So we're talking about new music, right?
Sure.
Or more current.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be like out this week, but we're gonna be telling you guys about current bands that really keeping that great guitar driven rock, blues rock kind of stuff
So
alive.
many to talk about.
There
And there's
you go.
we do. But we're gonna keep it to 10. We're gonna call this part 1.
Part one.
We can have part 10.
We can
that
do
one.
part million. But that is part of our job as music podcasters, is to keep you all informed. I'll send them from the South
Y'all.
about great music. So we will be doing that next week. 10 bands that remind us that classic rock is not dead.
Yeah.
So keep that at the front of your brains there for next week. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com and LouLombardiMusic.com. You can get all access to exclusive downloads, our exclusive private Facebook group, as well as things like our YouTube archive and show notes and all kind of stuff, links, all kind of stuff there. LoudiniRockandRollCircus.com, LouLombardiMusic.com. Please visit, patronize our sponsor, Wolf's Customs. go to check out Wolf's Customs and get custom work done on your musical instrument. And we, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have Lily V6 here from Rock Rage Radio. We're very lucky to have her here. So Lily, tell us a little bit about your show and what you got going on.
My show is on Thursdays. It's called Hot Licks with Lily 6, 6 p.m. Eastern Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Rock Rage Radio. You can get the app for free or just listen right on the website. I do a lot of event announcements, play at least 15 new songs every week, and I don't know what you're looking at there. But also, I do interviews, and I will be doing one this week as well with, gosh, I'm going to feel so stupid. It's the guy from Saigon Kill, Phil Varone from Saigon Kill.
There you go.
Is this week.
Is that the band Love Is On The Way?
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about that band? They're 90s. That's 90s, isn't it?
Oh, what?
It's
Like
the
1990.
border.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's
It's
why I did
still
not mention them.
The thing about them is like they had that 80s vibe,
But they didn't.
They weren't an 80s band. It was
Right.
interesting. It's
That's
very a band that I was going to talk about tonight, but it turns out when I looked them up, they're more of a 90s band. Is Driving and Crying.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That's
it's
definitely
very 80s sounding,
Yeah,
though.
they do. They have but they were one of them that kind of started, but they reached their like the songs you guys know, and really their main thing was in more like in the 90s and not so much. But there's a bunch we could talk about. I've got
I've
a list.
got at least
Do you
10 more.
remember this band right here?
Yes.
You know these guys. These guys. There's a ton. I mean, like the 80s, man.
I hope
every
everybody
decade,
listening.
actually, right? There's those.
Every
like
listening.
we go, shit! I forgot about them. They were so awesome.
There
Yes.
are so many that have been overlooked, but you'll know at least one or two songs.
There's a
from
lot
them.
of great
That's
music
it.
out there, and we are here to tell you all about it. Pittsburgh, Kevin, anything you want to add?
Well, you know,
before we
you're
close out?
talking tonight about Jeff Healy. I'm kind of inspired. You know, I play guitar, I play bass, but I want to learn to. He learned to play the trumpet. I'm going to learn to play the clarinet, but.
The clarinet, but
I'm going to learn how to play the clarinet in my lap.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty excited about that. I'll keep you guys updated.
Send video.
all right, guys. Everybody have a great week, and we will, as I say every week, we will catch you all on the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.